Well, I'll tell you this story about what's going on with just when you think people probably figured life out, they clearly have not. And Mack Rhoades is, by all accounts, a very well-respected, well-liked individual. They had that run-in with Triggs on the sideline over a T-shirt this fall, which was an ugly incident that no athletic director. I mean, he basically put his hands on a football player. As an athletic director, you guys remember what I'm talking about, and you get into this mess with Aranda, and it's just like I have no idea what Mack Rhoades thought he was doing. And then today, you see that not only did he have that situation, not only that, but you get into this thing where now there's a new investigation and there are new allegations against Mack Rhoades. And Mack has stepped away from the University of Baylor. He has stepped away from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, for which he is the chair. And that makes everybody wonder what's going on at Baylor, because it's not a Title IX thing. They say it's not violations. It is strictly related to the personal conduct policy at Baylor. And that's what we know. And I don't know how Baylor seems to always find themselves in the middle of these kind of situations where you have people who are really good at their job who apparently are not such good dudes. And whether that is Bryles as a football coach, whether that is, I mean, I'm not even going to list them. You know the terrible things that have happened at Baylor. And you just get into this stuff, and it seems to never end. And we've talked ad nauseum, at length, about what I believe to be a blight on the face of the Big 12, which is Baylor. They don't win games. And oddly enough, Mack Rhoades has actually overseen football and basketball, women's and men's, I believe, conference championships. And yet here we are in a situation where Baylor basketball is probably not as good as they should be. And certainly Dave Aranda is one of the worst coaches in the Big 12. You're one of the most disappointing football programs in the Big 12. You have allowed Dave Aranda to bring that football program to its knees. And now you yourself and Mack Rhoades, supposedly one of the best athletic directors in the business, now you're on leave after yet another investigation has been started at Baylor. I just don't know how this could be any worse. Right now, for the Big 12 in this moment, I have no idea how this could be any worse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's making the decisions at that university or what he thought he was doing, but it's about the worst timing it could possibly be. It couldn't be worse, and I just don't think there's much more else to say. You're not competitive. You're now a problem for your conference. Like what else is there to talk about? What else? Like what? How do we want to spin this? How do we want to be like, oh, it's not a big deal, or oh, it's fine, or what's going to be the the coach speak on this one? Because I don't think there is fixing this, dude. Like they're making it very clear that this isn't, hey, you fed some kids some cheeseburgers and recruited illegally. That's not what this is, dude. This is something much more sinister than that, because if it wasn't, he would still be the chair. He would still be doing what he's doing outside of the school. But the fact that he's not, and the fact that he's had to remove himself from basically everything that he's doing in the day-to-day tells you everything you need to know. And I just, we talked a bunch yesterday about like where the Big 12 stacks up and, how they can be a two-bid conference this year and all these great things. And now we don't get to talk about that anymore. Now we get to be focused on a program that's irrelevant in both sports and has an AD that's just completely irresponsible. So, I don't know how we're supposed to feel good about it.
Well, I don't think anybody says you're supposed to feel good about it. I think I think the biggest issue here is this continues the narrative that Baylor's a blight on the face of this conference. And I am sure that's not going to be popular in Texas or with our friends at Baylor, but you're again in the middle. You're again in the middle of a situation where you're an embarrassment. And it just continues. And we go over it and over it. You can't even get a group of, like, Baylor's president tried to get a bunch of people together. That fell flat on its face. Like, I don't understand when and at what point this conference is going to step away from nonsense like this. I don't understand it, because this continues to be a conference where you do everything but win championships. That's what the story of this conference is, and it's really frustrating, because you finally are in a situation where you have multiple programs who are on the cusp of being nationally relevant in Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah. And you just can't seem to get it right. Whether it is Oak State being a complete joke, whether it is the Kansas schools just being absolutely irrelevant, whether it is multiple schools in your conference talking about pay cuts and not being able to afford, NIL deals, whatever it is, you have multiple schools just cutting you out at the knees. And we go over this time and time again. And I'm just going to ask you, when do you hear SEC schools talking about giving their coach a pay cut so they can afford to pay NIL deals? When do you hear Big 10 universities talking about how, oh man, we're going to have our kids come back and take less money for NIL because they really want to be here? When do you hear programs in the Big 10 talking about their coach talking about how negotiations are over? You don't hear that. But who do you hear it from? The Big 12 and to a lesser extent the ACC. That's where you hear it from. So should we at all be surprised that the athletic director at Baylor, who went after one of his football players for the color of his undershirt, is now the guy who has had to resign from the College Football Playoff Committee in absolute shame, and is now the guy who is on leave of absence from Baylor amid an investigation of an unknown variety? The narrative continues in this conference. And I know there's going to be people who say I'm making way too much of this and we don't even know what happened and you shouldn't be judging people. Oh, I'm judging people. I'm judging people because this is the truck stop conference, the flyover conference, all the jokes, all the narratives. You don't win. This is what you do. This is what you do.
Absolutely.
And it's really unfortunate that you can't get out of your own way, because there's no excuse for you not to have multiple teams in the college football playoff. And in a year where there are scenarios where the ACC could be shut out entirely from the college football playoff. Yet here we are where you have multiple teams who could be in, and now we have another scandal at Baylor. And you were the chairman of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, in position to help your conference. And now you have resigned your position as chairman because you're being investigated at Baylor for misconduct, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild to me that it's so frustrating.
Yeah, there's not the standards aren't high enough. The culture is not good enough. The day-to-day is not good enough in the Big 12. And it's frustrating, and there's no I really don't know, like, what else, like, because I agree with everything you're saying. How do you're the chair of the CFP committee. How do you make this kind of mistake? Whatever you did, how do you make a mistake on this level? Because everyone's saying, oh, well, we don't know what they did. Well, I know well enough that whatever he did or is being accused of doing, it's severe enough where you're having to remove yourself from everything. Like, you step down from the committee. You're on a leave of absence. Like you're basically saying, yep, full stop. I got to stop and I have to separate myself and deal with this. Like, okay, so that inherently means that you've done something that's, just so out there that you're having to pay that kind of a price already. And that's where I say, like, nothing's going to change in the Big 12 until the personnel changes, until the standard is set higher, until there's some sort of penalty to be paid for not winning. And until that happens, this type of stuff will be tolerated, because that's the truth, right? I mean, what's going to happen? Mac will obviously, pay a price, I'm assuming. Baylor inherently will pay a price because their AD is mixed up in this, whatever this is. But as a conference, what is the Big 12 going to do? When is the mediocrity going to be, solved? Like, when is it not going to be good enough at TCU or Baylor or Oak State or K-State? Like, when do people stop having patience for dudes like for any of these quarterbacks that we want to look at, dude? Avery Johnson. How many seasons I got to sit here on this show and talk about how he can't throw a football at a high enough level to win in the Big 12? Right? Like, how long?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's all sort of intertwined. Like this is the last thing. I got to be honest. This is the last thing that I want to spend a Thursday on this show talking about your AD being an idiot away from the field, if you will, being irresponsible, being the worst possible leader you could be. And like, that's just what it is. Like, that's just, like, we can just ignore this story and talk about the CFP again. But it is the face of the league right now. It is the poster child of the league right now for probably the next week, I would guess.
Yeah, and I think the Michael Trigg incident is, I don't believe for a second, in my opinion, that this is unrelated to the Michael Trigg thing. I think that incident was heinous. And if you, I mean, I don't know how anybody missed it, but maybe you did. I think it was September 20th. Arizona State and Baylor were playing, and Mack Rhoades went up to Trigg as the ball was being kicked off to start the game, and was putting his hands on the player and asking him about the yellow shirt that he was wearing. And multiple assistants were around when the incident occurred. It was a very short-lived incident. It wasn't something that went on for long. It was weirdly timed. It was at the start of the game, when you're on the field for your first drive of the game against Arizona State. Apparently that incident festered throughout the day. And it really upset Michael Trigg, as you can imagine, when you have your athletic director putting your hands on him. And the good news, I guess, is that Trigg had a huge game. I think that's a game he caught 2 touchdowns in. But I think the bigger issue is Baylor loses the game, and it just got worse. And according to Outkick, Trigg went to be with his family. An assistant coach was visiting with his family when Mack Rhoades allegedly came up from behind and grabbed the assistant's arm and his shoulder and neck area. Rhoades then allegedly proceeded to verbally accost the assistant coach, which was witnessed by multiple Baylor staff from the athletic department. There was an HR complaint filed, according to Outkick. According to, I guess, multiple witnesses, the investigation into the incident was launched. And he got it. He allegedly got away with it. He was not disciplined for that. There was a scenario where Trigg and the assistant coaches were asked to apologize to Mack Rhoades. then an athletic department staffer realized that Rhoades should have been the one apologizing to Trigg, his family, and the athletic department staff members. I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous. And I don't know, but I can't believe, knowing those details, that this latest investigation is unrelated to that. I just can't. I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, violation of the personal conduct policy, right? I mean, certainly it's not the only thing, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think that he would be fully stepping away just because of that, but I agree that it's probably a compounding situation. Like, hey, this happened and then something else happened, and he's been on a roll here where he's just been doing a bunch of bad stuff or stuff he shouldn't be doing, and now we're here.
But how hard is it? It's college football, man.
Well, that's the thing.
This is not rocket
This is what
science.
we say about athletes all the time. This is what we say about all these rich, powerful people we always end up talking about on the show. Like, how hard is it to stay out of trouble, dude? How hard is it to get paid your money? I mean, hell, I don't even know how much Rhoades makes off the top of my head, but millions. How hard is it to just be like, yeah, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to represent this conference at a really high level. I'm going to represent the institution at a really high level. And then I'm going to go home and I'm going to, take care of my family and loved ones. And I'm just going to enjoy this life that I have for as long as I get to live it. Like, you don't have to worry, like, just for perspective, you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. Like, you don't have to worry about SNAP benefits being taken away. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff that a random average Joe person would have to worry about. Yet you get so wrapped up in what color Buddy's shirt is, and in my opinion, clearly something else that happened that is just impassable as far as the school is concerned. It just is. I don't know. I don't know how these guys make it. And it's what you've always said, right? It's like, hey, like, everybody can be successful, but not everybody can handle that point in their life. When you get to that level, like, and you have access and you're in certain situations, it exposes people. And so we'll see what he did. We'll see what he's wrapped up in, but it's not going to be good. I'm just telling you guys, this is not a good situation. And this is, it's probably worse than what we can come up with off the top of our head.
Yeah. And I just, again, I will just keep saying, this is not brain surgery. We're not trying to save the world. It's football. It's football. And the thing that is so frustrating to me is this is all self-inflicted damage. It's all stupidity. You're just dumb. That's all this is. I mean, Kenneth Maynor, Baylor is the Wake Forest of the Big 12, Baptist and mid. And there's a lot of people making Christian jokes today because part of Baylor's statement is that, and I don't even want to get into the hypocrisy of relationships, but one of the things that Baylor said is that Mack Rhoades' actions with Michael Trigg are not in alignment with their Christian values. Should we go back to the basketball scandal or the football scandals? What about your Christian values then? Right? Like, Baylor, do you think we don't know who you are? Just open the curtain, because we know who's behind the curtain, man. Like,
is it so hard to just say, like, it's not in alignment with the values of Baylor? Why does it have to be Christian values? Why can't we just say, like, I understand
it's a Christian university.
I get that, but and I understand that that's like part of what defines them. But part of me is like, why don't you just put out a simple ass statement that says, hey, like, this isn't in alignment with how we like to do things at Baylor? Just as simple as that. Everyone knows you're a Christian university. You don't have to beat us over the head with it again. Like, it, like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe the issue is us. Maybe we as sports fans expect too much out of guys who make millions of dollars a year to be an athletic director, in manager relationships and push paper for a living. I mean,
Yep.
that's what you do. Like, this is what bothers me so much. Like, I'm sorry, it's that hard for you. I think his salary, his total comp package is like 2.2 this year or something like that, or last year.
I
Okay,
don't even care about the money.
but
Who cares? Like,
but okay.
how is there? But you're whether it's $2.2 or $2.2 million, what are you attacking a football player for at kickoff? You're upset about his shirt. You couldn't tell him that before the game. Why are you putting your hands on the player? Talk to the coach. Have him go change his shirt. Tell the coach, hey, Trigg's got to go change his shirt. Whether you're making $2 or $2 million, it just is not that difficult. It's not that difficult. The money is always irrelevant to me because the money is comic book money. It's monopoly money. What professional athletes and professional administrators make, you can't even fathom it, right? Like, who can fathom what any major LeBron James makes every day? How can you fathom the money that goes into LeBron James's bank account every day? No, I can't either. It's Delaric, who's been a member for 32 months. Good to see you. I told you Aranda had dirt on somebody. Maybe he does. Rock and Rant, a member for 15 months. Exhausting. Thank you. Greatest sport in world is run by fools. Yes, exactly right. Brandon Butler, a member for 34 months. My dude, the mediocrity is built into college football. Northwestern and Purdue have been in the Big Ten for years to lose and take the paycheck. Yeah, I agree. But isn't that why we hear so many rumors about teams wanting to go to the SEC? I mean, you look at the Michigan State story this week. How much hypocrisy is in the Big Ten? Like, what do we even? Oh, big money for being stupid. Yeah. It truly is. It truly is incredible. Awkward guy, man. How is it this hard to not be a douche? Right? I swear, egos are the downfall of man. Yes, they are. It's just incredible. It is so frustrating to me. And today's been a day, as I said, if you're just tuning, today has been just a shit show, right? And one of the things I'm really excited about is flipping on the TV Saturday morning, and I've got 3 massive football games, right? Like, just 3 gigantically important football games. You got Notre Dame at Pitt, and we got to talk about Pat Narduzzi, speaking of being a douche. Oh, my God. Oklahoma at Alabama at 3:30, and then the game, Texas at Georgia. Great weekend of college football. Great weekend. And then we got to talk about Buddy in Waco, not named Koresh, having to resign as the chairman of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. In the year, and again, I don't think it's going to happen, but do you understand the position the Big 12 is in opposed to the ACC? Like, the ACC got Cristobaled, with all due respect to Rock and Rant. But the ACC had Miami, and they're in complete chaos. And now you have the guy from Baylor as the chairman of the selection committee. Well, that was until this investigation happened, and now he's out. He's not only out of Baylor, he's out of the committee. I'm amazed by it. Now, the good news is, obviously, you got to replace him, but not as chairman. And with the guy, and I think I said this before Utah left the Pac-12. I told you Mark Harlan's an elite administrator. BYU fans save it.
What about after the game last year, Monty?
Okay. Totally agree. Mark was, and I talked about it on the show, but there are a few dudes that are as respected as Mark Harlan. He's not the chairman, though. He's not. And he should have been the commissioner of the Pac-12, in my opinion. I think I even said that on the show.
You did.
Should have been the commissioner of the Pac-12. Now he's on the college football playoff selection committee again. So that's good. But you look at Rick George retiring in July from Colorado, transformative figure in the history of Colorado sports with Deion Sanders. And this conference has got to find a way to compete off the field as well as on. Like, I saw this story. Did you guys see the story about the Big 10 and their revenue distribution model? Do you guys understand that the Big 10, who's working on, what is it, a $2.5 billion equity influx?
Yeah.
Do you guys understand that the Big 10 is going to make you earn your money now? And if you're an Ohio State fan, Jesus, you're in position to just rule the roost on this.
Ohio
right?
State.
It's with, I think, terror that you realize this deal, if it comes together, will exponentially benefit Ohio State more than anybody else. They will get an overwhelming share of this money. And I am not even surprised by it. I am not even surprised by it. And you look that if Ohio State continues down this path with the Big 10, the Buckeyes will mostly be in the driver's seat controlling the finances and the investments in that league, because they're really the ones driving it. Michigan and USC want nothing to do with this deal. They want nothing to do with this deal. And it's going to happen without them, frankly. But why does Ohio State have so much control? Well, because now they're national champions, but they're always in the college football playoff. They're always in the BCS. They are always contending at the top of college football. So what do? They make more money than everybody else. They have a better stadium than everybody else. They have larger turnout than everybody else. They have larger TV audiences on par with everybody else at the top. What does the Big 12 have? Does the Big 12 have, and I know, again, and I'm not, today I feel like I'm railing, probably just because I'm in a pissy ass mood. But again, for all you jackalopes who held the door open for Texas and Oklahoma, because we don't want them in this league anymore, Monty.
Don't want them, don't need them. Who the hell are they?
Who does Texas think they are? They're politics. They're so difficult to deal with. Yeah, well, turns out they win games, they make money, and people like to watch them on TV. Who do you have? Do you have a single game that's going to compete with this one right here this year? Because your two biggest games drew 4 million and just under 4 million. My guess is this one draws 10 million. What do you want? What do you want to bet that 10 million people will watch this game? And I'm telling you, this private equity deal in the Big 10 is a big, big deal. It is a big, big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, winning cures all, and when you win at the highest level, you have the loudest voice in the room. And, I think that Ohio State has done a great job dominating the conversation in the CFP era. They've pretty much been there every year, whether they've gotten in or not. They've been right there at the end. And I think that that's where you can say, hey, yeah, we're the ones carrying the Big 10. Right? Like, we're not the ones that have, cheating scandals happening or really anything going on.
That's right.
Outside of what went down with Pervin, we haven't really had anything going on. And
Pervin liar, please.
We've just been focused on winning. And even when Ryan Day couldn't figure it out, we were still in the conversation, and then he figured it out. So I just think that there are levels to the game, man. And if you're not going to be serious about winning, and you're going to have people with poor integrity and poor character leading your program, you're going to pay a price. And I think that that's not unique to the Big Ten. I think that the Big 12 pays that price, and I think that price is more severe because they don't win anything. And that's just the truth of it.
Yeah. And like you look at this private equity deal in the Big Ten. Can you imagine if Michigan and USC vote against this deal and opt out of it? And Ross Dellinger at On3 wrote about how they would have a small grace period, probably 6 weeks, to approve it, to opt back in. They'll just be on the outside looking in because Ohio State said so. That's what the poll they have. And deservedly so. Deservedly so, because to me it's remarkable. It's remarkable that Michigan even exists at this point with everything that's gone down on that campus. I mean, it's wild. Mike Smith says Dana and James both missing. Odd. Yeah, they're probably trying to investigate the moon landing, right? From Afghanistan.
That's right.
I went back and listened to that segment today. I don't think I was off base at all about that. That James Afghanistan comment was just so far out of right field. Iraq. You know,